guys, it's Ali. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. First things first, I'm just gonna apologize for the appearance that's appearing on your screens right now. This is not the intended makeup look that I would have done for this video, but I did try and be a little bit productive and film more than one video sort of in a row. So this is actually a full face of Rare Beauty that I have on right now that just isn't really agreeing with me. It's not my favorite look. And then we had an eyebrow situation, we had a whole meltdown there. So, and it's what, close to midnight now, so I just, yeah, taking off all this makeup and then redoing it for another video just did not seem like a smart thing to do on a weekday. Like, it just did not seem smart. So we are going to be looking at a Beauty Bay palette today. So we were blessed with a couple of new Beauty Bay palettes that are based around the limited edition palettes that you would have seen on my channel before. We're talking New Romantic, Wilderness, Age of Opulence, Book of Magic. So those palettes have siblings now. They have family members, and I think that when I saw this was kind of leaked a little bit early, and I was one of the people that did see the leak quite early on, and I am very excited for these palettes just because I really like the color stories on them. They just look very yummy, very delicious, and I went ahead and picked up every single color story. But if you can't tell by the pink shirt that I am wearing today, we are focusing on the pink palette, which is the Berries palette. So this is what the Berries palette looks like, and this is the only palette of the new launches that does not have a 42 pan palette. So this is the biggest palette that you can get in the Berries. And this one is based off of the New Romantic, which I have right here. I'll also link the video for this palette in the description box down below. I'll show you the New Romantic palette first. So this is what the New Romantic palette's color story looks like. I was a huge fan of this palette. Very cute, very Valentine's Day. And then here is the Berries palette. So this is what she looks like. Low-key obsessed with this palette. It looks absolutely stunning. And just a side-by-side for you all to see what we're working with. I actually feel like I might like the Berries palette a little bit more. There is a bit more versatility with the New Romantic palette, which, you know, I have to commend. That's absolutely amazing. But the shades in here just look really nice. And this is a 16 pan palette, and I believe it was £10. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But I believe there's a £6.50 palette, a £10 palette, and then a £23 palette in each one. And of course, like in true Ali fashion, we are going to swatch the entire palette and have a look at how some of these shades look swatched out on the arm. Ooh. If I'm not mistaken, I think some of the shades... Okay, it's not even some of the shades. It's literally one shade. Let me look carefully. Flamingo. Yeah, so I swatched Claret, which is the second shade in this palette on that top row. So I swatched that one, and I had like this deja vu moment to swatching Claret in this palette. And I confirmed that they are pretty much the exact same shade. So it's just this shade right here is the exact same as this shade right here. Other than that though, we don't have any other duplicate shades. So these are all of the shades swatched from the Berries palette. And the one thing that I like straight off the bat is the vibrance of those deeper raspberry pinky tones. They're absolutely stunning. And it's not too light shade heavy like we did see with the previous Love Notes palette, which I wasn't a huge fan of. But yeah, I feel like we have redeemed ourselves slightly, Beauty Bay, after that palette. But this looks absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot wait to have a play with them. The formula again is absolutely to die for. I'm a huge fan of Beauty Bay palette formulas. They are easily my favorite formula when it comes to brands, and I'm absolutely obsessed with this. As always, after I go ahead and swatch the palette, I do go ahead and do a little bit of a tutorial on the look. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm just going to sort of see where my brushes take me. I am excited to get into the pinks. I do think pink is a very flattering colour on me. So we are going to go ahead and start by priming the lid. And today I'm using the Be Perfect Prime eyeshadow primer, and we're going into our very first shade. And I do quite like the look of this very, very bright pink here. So this is Lilo, and I've just taken a fluffy brush. This is a Colourpop fluffy brush, and this is what I'm going to use for my transition shade today. We're going a little bit bold. And just look at the pigment on that. Absolutely stunning, stunning shade. Not that anyone asked, but I don't think I'm a fan of the Be Perfect eyeshadow primer. It's making my eyeshadow difficult to work with. The other eye was a little bit easier, but this one, I can feel some resistance from where that primer had been. I feel kind of wrong not to use the shade Claret just because of how much I love it. So I've just taken a smaller brush and I'm using this shade, and I'm just going to pack it on the outer and the inner of my eye. And I think I've decided I'm doing a halo eye. So this is just going to help me sort of guide me on the shape that I want. And then I'm just going to join the two back and forth like this. So I'm gradually deepening up the shades that I'm going to be using there. And Claret is just such a gorgeous, gorgeous shade. And then to actually deepen up the eye, I'm using this purple shade down here, which is Journal. I'm just hoping that this shade is going to be deep enough to do what I want it to. Okay, yeah. Slightly worried that it was going to be overpowered by the pinks, but coming out pretty wonderfully. So again, I'm just building it up on either side. And then I'm just going to join them in the middle here. Exact same way I did Claret. Only with a different shade this time. If there was a deeper shade in this palette, I would be going in with that one again on the outside, but Journal is actually the deepest shade that we've got in here. So I'm just making do with what I've got at this current stage. I'm going back in with the Be Perfect eye primer just to sort of create the halo eye shape that I want for today's look. I haven't got my finest brush, so I'm just using this one and hoping that it's not going to be too thick. I'll just get rid of the product on my lid like this. Gosh, I don't know where I want to draw this. Okay. So I think I'm going to take it out about that far. And then sort of fill it in. I could definitely use a different brush to fill it in because this is rather tedious. But yeah, I'm just going to do this until I've got the whole shape filled in. And then I will show you what I want to do next. I've pretty much put the primer where I've wanted to put it, just so I can see the area that I want to sort of build that halo into. I'm just hoping that the palette has shades that I think I want to work with, and I think we can get something cute out of this. The first thing that I'm going to do is just add a little bit of that Journal shade, just to make sure that this blends in nicely to that. And I'm going to do it on either side, but not so much because I do want to add more colours into that. So just putting in a little bit of Journal. This is just to disguise the line of demarcation. And then I'm back in with Lilo just to add some vibrance to this area. And I'm just going to blend this outwards into that journal shade. And again on the other side. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because it does create just a very nice gradient when they're all sort of touched up and everything. And I think what I want to do for sort of the whole main area is going with a semi dark pink, I think. So I think, what do I want to go in with? I think I'm going to take Daiquiri. That's this shade right here. I kind of really like the look of this shade. I'm going to try and just apply it with my finger first of all. And I'm just applying it super messily because I'm not too fussed about the application of it yet, because I'm going to blend it with all the other shades in just a moment. I actually don't think there's a flattering way to have a halo look without lashes. So now I'm just going back in with all of the colours that I had before. But now I'm just sort of working on the shape that I've got. And the blend of shadows too. I don't know if that's the shape that I was going for, but the fun thing about halo eyes is if you do make a mistake, you can literally just cover it with another shadow, which is what I'm doing right now. You just sort of chisel away at the shadows. And then what I want to do is I kind of want to brighten up the center of both of these halos. And yeah, in terms of the shades in the palette, looking at the swatches on my arm, I think I want to go in with this shade here, which is Cloud. And I'm just hoping that I can place it where I want to, so right in the center. On top of the Daiquiri shade, just to add a little bit of a pop in the center of the eye. There's a lot going on here. It's like a lot going on, and the lashes are just gonna fix it. Lashes will fix everything. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is something that I haven't done in a long time, which is the lower lash line shade. This is that claret shade. I feel like I've picked the worst brush for this, but I'm committed now. And now I'm going to add the last final thing that's going to sort of tie everything together and let the magic happen. So this is a finished look now that I've added my lashes, and I just feel like it's pulled everything so together and it looks absolutely amazing. I'm a huge fan of how everything is looking at the moment. Even this red lip that I wasn't sure about, which is actually a little bit drying, but the red lip that I wasn't sure about, I kind of like it with the look, because it's not like super red, but yeah. I wouldn't generally do like a pink red thing, but I think it works right now because I've got like the reddish tones in my cheeks with the blush. But yeah, this is how it's looking. To summarize, I actually really love this palette. I do like that we've got more permanent palettes as part of like Beauty Bay's collection in terms of these color stories, because I do know that there were a lot of people with the Wilderness, the New Romantic, the Book of Magic, etc., where they couldn't get the palettes in time and then they were discontinued. So I do think it's quite a nice touch to have these more permanent members of the Beauty Bay family. Plus they're very affordable and the formula never misses. Literally not at any given moment in time has the Beauty Bay formula failed me, and that's something that I literally take my hat off to them, because other brands, I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of inconsistencies with certain brands and their eyeshadow formula, but Beauty Bay literally never miss. The formula is literally like butter, and the shimmers to die for. Yeah, so the Berries palette is definitely a thumbs up for me. I think the next palette that I'm going to be taking a look at is the Midnight palette. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek because I am feeling friendly. So that's the Midnight palette there. And yeah, if you guys want to see the full palette plus the look that I create with that palette, then go ahead and stick around for that. Make sure you are subscribed and leave a thumbs up if you did enjoy this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel, and I'll see you in my next one.